Imagine you spent your whole life writing songs. Late nights, heartbreak, revision after revision. That's your life's work. One day, an AI company uses your songs without asking about it to train a machine that learns your words, your style, your craft. That machine then generates billions of new lyrics at a profit and never pays you a single cent for any of it. Is that theft or just learning? That exact question is sitting in a California courtroom right now. And the answer matters to all of us. Hey, honestly, if this happened to you, would you fight back? Or would you just accept it as the future? Tell me, the company in the crosshairs today is Anthropic, the same company that built Claude, one of the world's most powerful AI chatbots. In October 2023, Universal Music Group, Concord, and ABKCO filed a federal lawsuit against Anthropic in California court. Their claim? Anthropic copied and fed Claude lyrics from at least 500 songs, without permission, without any payment. We're talking about songs by Beyoncé, the Rolling Stones, the Beach Boys, some of the most iconic music ever written by humans. Then in March 2026, music company BMG filed its own separate lawsuit. Citing 493 specific copyrights, it says Anthropic infringed. BMG's catalog includes Bruno Mars, Ariana Grande, and the Rolling Stones. Heavy hitters. High-value copyrights. Statutory damages under U.S. copyright law can reach up to $150,000 per song if the court finds willful infringement. Do the math. 1 month later, in April 2026, Anthropic filed for summary judgment, asking Judge Yumi Lee to rule in its favor without a trial. Anthropic's argument: training Claude on song lyrics was transformative fair use. Legally protected learning, not theft. So both sides are now asking one judge to answer a question that could reshape copyright law for the entire AI era. To understand why this case matters so much, we need to break it down into 3 core legal questions. Let's go. Question 1. Is training an AI on copyrighted song lyrics a protected fair use under U.S. copyright law? First, let's understand what AI training actually is. You feed billions of words into a model. It learns patterns, not copies. The model learns how words relate to each other, how sentences are built, what makes language feel natural and human. Anthropic says, this is exactly like a songwriter listening to thousands of songs to develop their own unique voice and style. U.S. fair use law has 4 factors. The biggest one: does the new use transform the original into something with a different purpose? In June 2025, Judge William Alsup issued a landmark ruling in a separate Anthropic case. Authors versus Anthropic over books. Alsup's ruling: using millions of books to train Claude was quintessentially transformative and qualified as fair use. Anthropic won. His reasoning: training an AI to generate language is completely different from publishing a book. The output serves a new purpose. Anthropic is now using exactly that same argument in the music case. Training, reproducing, learning, stealing, or so they claim. Wait, honestly, do you think there's a real difference between a human musician learning from songs and a corporation mass copying them? The music publishers say absolutely not. Their argument: Anthropic didn't passively absorb music. It copied, analyzed, and monetized it. Publishers also cite a key 2025 ruling, Thomson Reuters versus Ross Intelligence in Delaware. That judge ruled against AI fair use. In that case, an AI legal search tool trained on Westlaw's copyrighted summaries. The court said, same purpose, same market, not fair use. 2 courts. 2 opposite answers. This is exactly why the music case is the most important AI copyright battle being fought today. And music has something books don't. Song lyrics are extremely short, extremely memorable, and directly reproducible on demand. The Copyright Office's 2025 report puts it this way: training for research is likely fair use. Training to compete commercially? Much harder to defend. Now here's where the story takes a much darker turn, because even if AI training can be fair use, question 2 changes everything. Question 2. Where did Anthropic actually get the training data? Was it legally acquired on or stolen from the internet? In the author lawsuit, Judge Alsup uncovered something explosive. Anthropic hadn't just licensed books. It had pirated millions of them. Anthropic co-founder Ben Mann downloaded over 7 million books from shadow library websites. Books 3, Library Genesis, Pirate Library Mirror, These were known pirate sites. Man knew they were pirated. The court record shows he knew. Anthropic's leadership knew. Court documents revealed Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei wanted to avoid the, quote, legal practice business slog of buying books legally. They also literally destroyed print books after scanning them, stripping bindings, cutting pages, and discarding the originals. Zero care for creators. Okay, stop. A company worth over $10 billion was torrenting pirated books to save money on licensing. How does that land for you? Judge Alsop's ruling was clear. AI training itself was fair use. But building a library from pirated copies? Absolutely not protected. His analogy was perfect. You can't bless yourself by saying I have a research purpose and go take any textbook you want. Studying is legal, but studying with a stolen textbook is still theft. The learning doesn't erase the crime that came before it. BMG's lawsuit specifically called out Anthropic's use of unauthorized torrent sites to source the lyrics used in training Claude. If that's true, it's devastating for Anthropic, because even a fair use argument crumbles when the underlying copying was knowingly illegal. In September 2025, Anthropic settled the author class action for $1.5 billion, roughly $3,000 per pirated book. But Judge Alsop made clear, buying a copy later doesn't absolve you of stealing it first. The music publishers have not settled, not even close. Third question, and this one hits differently. What does Claude actually do with the lyrics it absorbed? What comes out the other end? Song lyrics are unique in copyright law. A novel is hundreds of pages, but the heart of a song can be just 8 or 12 memorable lines. Those few lines are the song. Copy one iconic chorus and you've taken the whole creative heart of that artist's work. The publishers proved in their court filings that Claude could reproduce copyrighted lyrics nearly word for word when users prompted it. Not inspired by, not in the style of, the actual licensed property of the publishers, given away for free by an AI chatbot. Think about what the music publishers actually sell. They license lyrics to karaoke platforms, lyric apps, music educators, streaming services. That licensing market is real. It has dollar values. Spotify pays for lyrics. Genius pays for lyrics. The market exists. Now an AI can just give those lyrics away for free to anyone who asks. What happens to that licensing market? Publishers say it dies. This connects to the fourth and most important fair use factor: the effect on the market for the copyrighted work. Publishers filed their summary judgment motion in March 2026, arguing Claude's lyric outputs directly compete with and dilute the market. Anthropic tried to address this. In January 2025, they reached a deal with publishers to maintain and improve lyric guardrails in Claude. Those guardrails are supposed to prevent Claude from reproducing protected lyrics verbatim when prompted. Keyword, supposed to. Publishers say the guardrails are inconsistent, easily bypassed, and prove nothing about what happened during training. Harm was done first. Here's the real question underneath all of this. If an AI was trained on your creative work and now competes with you, who owns the future? Anthropic's April 2026 filing said this directly. The primary objective of copyright is not to reward the author, but to serve the public. A billion-dollar tech company telling songwriters their copyright exists to serve the public, not them. How does that sit with you? So where does everything stand right now? Let's do a quick timeline of how the courts have actually moved on these cases. March 2025. Judge Yumi Lee denies the publisher's request for a preliminary injunction, refusing to immediately halt Anthropic's use of lyrics. Her reasoning, publishers hadn't proven irreparable harm yet, and the fair use question was still too unsettled to rule on preemptively. October 2025. Anthropic tries to dismiss secondary infringement claims. They lose. Judge Lee allows those claims to continue to trial. That means the argument that Anthropic enabled users to display copyrighted lyrics on demand survived Anthropic's legal challenge. Meanwhile, Judge Alsop's June 2025 ruling gave Anthropic a huge win on AI training in the book case. But with one enormous caveat, Alsop was explicit. His fair use ruling does not protect pirated training data or copies retained beyond the training process itself. And in Delaware, the Thomson Reuters case reached the opposite conclusion. AI training was not fair use because it served the same market. Two federal courts. Two different fair use outcomes. The law is genuinely unsettled, and the music case may be the one that finally settles it. Right now, Judge Lee has both sides' summary judgment motions before her. Her ruling could arrive any day and could reshape everything. If Lee rules for the publishers, it could unlock billions in damages and force AI companies to license music before training. Full stop. Let's zoom out now. Because this case is not just about Claude or Beyoncé, it's really about who owns the raw material of the AI age. The US Copyright Office published a landmark report in early 2025. Their message, fair use for AI will vary enormously case by case. Training for research and analysis, probably fair use. Training to generate content that competes commercially with originals, probably not. The report also noted something important. A voluntary licensing market for AI training is already emerging across multiple industries. News organizations, stock photo companies, academic publishers. Many are cutting licensing deals with AI companies. The market is forming. But here's the other side of that coin. Licensing costs money. And that money mostly goes to big, organized rights holders, not individual songwriters. What about the independent artist who posted their music online and never knew their lyrics were scraped to train a billion-dollar machine? The EU has already passed rules requiring AI developers to respect opt-outs. Japan and Singapore have their own data mining exceptions. America is still figuring it out through case-by-case litigation, with no comprehensive law yet in place to guide either side. As the Copyright Office put it, the works used to train AI are not just data. They are creative expression. Someone wrote every word. Someone sang every note. Someone spent their life developing the craft that made that training data worth using in the first place. So, did AI learn from music, or did it steal it? Honestly, the answer is probably both, depending on exactly which actions you look at. Training itself may be transformative, but pirating the source material? Giving away licensed lyrics for free? Those are harder to defend. What this case really asks is simple. In the AI age, does human creativity have a price? Or does it just become free fuel for machines? Who do you think is right here? The songwriters or the AI company? Drop it in the comments. That's a wrap for today. The courtroom battle plays on. Somewhere, a songwriter is still writing, hoping the future still belongs to them.